Intro. Just assume that Shania Twain is singing Don't Impress Me Much in the background right now. Because after last night's Twitch stream, I don't have the energy to do that. And honestly, I didn't want to make a second gripe video about an event, but here we are. So roll the clips and let's talk about this. Shout out to Fluffy Sheeple.
Fancy intro music, yeah! Woo!
All right, everybody, so let's start with it. Let's go right into the Impress Me event, and to use the cliche, it don't impress me much. And look, I'm not the only one who feels that it's disappointing. I know any ops or engineer or community manager, anybody who looks at my screen is going to go, well, you completed it, so it couldn't have been that bad. And I feel like that's not the most, I feel like that's a disingenuous view. And let's say this, Ultimate DJ, who is another great content creator, if you haven't checked out the podcast, he had an impromptu Saturday night show. I was streaming on Twitch, and then DJ's up, and DJ is never on Saturday night. And yesterday, myself and DJ were in the official Discord for hours having this conversation. And it was before this even started. So let's talk about what originally got the fuel, the anger of what was the player experience yesterday. So here are the starting off swarm modas. It's the very beginning. It's an uncommon target. Now, previously, the past 4 days, or the past 5 days, or 5 days ago, 4 days from that, do the math in your head, we were able to launch these with uncommon directives. Now, we'll say this was never planned. It was supposed to be rares all along. DJ's right, because DJ talked about this. If you actually take the rewards into consideration, the fact that these will reward you rare credits and possibly Jailer shards, that's obviously not a uncommon reward. It's supposed to have been rares. However, when it launched, it was uncommons, and then they swapped it. And they made a little moderator announcement. This is not a shot at the moderators. They're only doing their job. A little moderator announcement going, hey, we screwed up. We're going to fix this real quick. And then fixed it right before this event happened that requires you to go do these. Now, I'll add this. Yes, the game has given us literally thousands of rare Armada directives in the past couple of months to prepare you for this. But I don't think that's the point. I think the point is the fact that the screw up got into the game and was not immediately fixed anyway, because it took several days to get fixed. And then when it gets fixed, it's right before an event launches. And that was really problematic. Not to mention the fact that this is a very hard to get to area. You have got to have a Warp 75 ship to get to the basic Swarm Mata. So you basically have to have a maxed Enterprise or a Tier 8 Enterprise running, reach crews like TOS Scotty and Instructor Scotty, Cadet Scotty and Synergy. I mean, it's not easy to get here. Or you need the Franklin A. And here's another problem with this event. Now, don't worry for all those who are 20 through 28 and stuff. I'm going to talk about y'all's problems in a second. But for the problems for the other players who do have to go through these deep swarms, this Impress Me event required Swarm Armadas. That's it. That's all you could do with Swarm Armadas. There was no other option. And there are level 35 plus players who don't have the Franklin A yet. I don't have it. I don't have it yet. Will I get it? Yes, of course I will. But do I have it yet? No, which means I have to then complete this event using another ship. Whether it's an ISS Jelly, which mine doesn't reach yet because it's only tier 2. Whether it's my Enterprise, which will reach, but then does not near enough damage and will die. You need Franklin A's to beat it. Do you remember seeing how strong that uncommon was? I mean, they are swarms. So you take all this into account, and I don't think that milestone type of thing is fair. Now let's also talk about the requirements. 10,000 points to start. This way. 100,000 to complete. Defeating only got you 2,000. So really, you would have saved about one set of directives, one launch if you had actually been winning. If you're losing, which most people would lose because it takes the average, early Franklins, like tier 1s and tier 2s, multiple times to win some of these Armadas, even with good crew setups. So you're looking at 8 to 10 Armada launches just to complete this event. That is 800 to 1,000 rare directives. And most people aren't going to feel chummy about just throwing away 800 to 1,000 directives. That's pretty ridiculous. But let's look at the Swarm War, because we had this as well. So to get to our ticket system, Yes, to get into the ticket system, we had to complete that. And once again, swarm models are really the only way to score significant points, or go do farming. So let's say that you do 32s and 35s because you don't have a Franklin A. 34 and 55 points to then get to 7,200. Holy crap. Now, starting the swarm models would help you out. I was getting 600 for launching the 40s dry and never running them. But once again, I'm still wasting directives to then get 10 tickets. I mean, okay. And then you have this one, which is completing solo milestones will then give you like really small amounts of emulsion and then refine. So this is good for your alliance. I necessarily don't mind this. This is good for the alliance, but this doesn't help at all. 800 ISO, that's nothing. This game starts needing stupid amounts of isogen. So the entire Swarm War with the Impress Me event leading the way yesterday and it being a 2-day thing just didn't really feel well for a weekend event. Now let's talk really quickly about everybody else. The not me's, the not 35 pluses. If you were like, say, level 20, this is what you got. Wow. Still at 100,000 point total, 2 days to get it, but to spend each directive, you got 100 or 70 points. Now, how that math works, 100 versus 70, I don't know. That doesn't make much sense to me. But let's look at this. Besides just spending, winning did not pay out a lot. You're talking about having to run a dozen as a level 20 and then somehow winning against rare armadas. That is a completely ridiculous milestone for players who, one, don't even have those tokens, and if they do, because they sure as heck didn't have epics, they've got rares maybe. That's not a feasible feat. Because here's another issue. Spawn timers. At least with the swarm modders, people were doing like I were doing and were dry launching them. This you had to basically win to compete. You had to win this. I know Scopely knows this, but I'm going to reiterate this. Rare and epic respawn timers for armadas can range anywhere from 8 hours to 20 hours. It's in LCARs. The rares don't take as long, but you're still talking about basically that rare node spawning twice a day. And when you've got an entire server that's trying to go after rare armadas because you got level 20s through 34s who have to hit regular rares and regular epics, you're now making this event not only extremely grindy, but almost impossible to actually complete. Like, what are they going to do? They can't make rare armadas form out of nowhere. So this weekend's event based around armadas, it was simply set at way too high of a bar. And the fact that we are sitting here with the requirement of 35 plus, basically a punishment that if you don't have a Franklin A, well, you're just kind of SOL right now. And that sucks because there are people who are brand new 35s who just got there, who don't even have a scrapyard at 35 yet, who don't even have the crystal ready to go into that process. There are people who are still sitting at, like, say, a Franklin tier 8 and still need a couple million modulators because the Franklin is one of the biggest grinds in the game. And I'm not saying that the Franklin A isn't a great ship. I do think it is good, and I'm very glad that Scopely introduced that and the biotic. I think that was a fantastic addition to the game. My complaint's not about the ship. My complaint is about how the milestones and how the event system was set up this weekend, where not only did we get a kick in the butt, where we no longer are spending uncommon directives, now we're spending those ultra precious rares, which people use, by the way, to go and get those uncommon crystals and everything they need in their turn-in chest. Now we're spending all that to just kind of blindly not even compete in these. Now keep in mind, if you even did these, you didn't get much. As you saw at the beginning of the intro, our guy Fluffy Sheeple just sent me one this morning where now it's gone. Thank the baby Lord Jesus that we have it in the intro. But complaining about the reach times, how long it takes to actually warp out here, which is several minutes, by the way, because we're out by deep space in Araxian. Actually, we are in deep space in Araxian. So you've got the flight times to get here. If you actually do want to destroy it, it usually takes multiple hits. And then you end up, if you're a regular participant, with what, like 5 biotic? I mean, so you're not getting a lot of rewards for the amount of effort. It's kind of like Borg Matas, but worse because of the level of grind, no payout, flight times. It's just rough, and I think that they need to make some adjustments for the next time this comes around because this is running again during the arc. I don't think it's terrible, the idea. I just think that the milestones were set so high, combined with the fact that we got frustrated with how the thing was changed right out from under us. It's rough. And then they gave a compensation chest, and I'm just gonna be honest. The compensation chest they gave, which was 100 rare directives and 5 jailer shards, is not near as good as when they compensated players for the Franklin A build time. The Franklin A build time, they gave 30 plus days of builds, like speed ups, to help compensate for the fact that you maybe weren't ready for 2 months. So they tried to help push you along a little bit. We didn't really get any of that with this go around. And I feel like that's the inconsistencies here. Like, I'm not trying to call out anybody specifically for the overlords. You know, they're doing their job. It's the weekend. It's not like everybody's there. So I'm grateful that we got any response at all. Truly. At the same time, though, we've got to make sure that we're uniform and consistent in how we're responding to the players. And with these impromptu announcements and these quick changes before an event, you know, for a lot of people, it felt like a bait and switch. Do I feel like this was an intentional bait and switch by Scopely to just get money from people? I really don't. I think it's just the same problem we keep having: lack of communication and bad quality assurance. And that is something that's simply got to change. Now, to end this with a positive note and to remind everybody, Cosmic Cleanup has been here. Do your Cosmic Cleanup. Remember, the sarcophagus is in this. So do your Cosmic Cleanup, and then you can go into your event store and get sarcophagus blueprints. Everybody's been talking about they need sarcophagus blueprints. Here you go. Start grinding away at your sarcophagus. Let me know what you think about this video. Let me know what you think about the events going on this weekend. Drop them down below. If it did impress you, let me know why. Be honest, but be courteous. We love y'all. Live long and prosper. Stay safe out there, Space Cowboys. Winky face.
Remember, Spock doesn't go on the Enterprise. Live long and prosper. All the best.
An even better outro than the intro. For the Empire and glory to your house.